New Zealand. But often we're overlooked by our big cousins across the ditch in Australia. But we have two main islands. And the North Island has a population of 4 million, and we're located in the South Island of New Zealand. Our size of country is about the same size as the United Kingdom, but only 5 million people in total. So I'm sure Graciela, when she talks today, will talk a little bit about the difference of how many people are in New Zealand. So 5 million in total. We have three official languages. So English, widely spoken, Te Reo Maori by our Indigenous Maori population. And again, we're touching on that today, but you will see Maori words interspersed with lots of the conversation that we're having. So we are a very safe country, and we're not very corrupt, and we're also very gender equal. So great opportunities here. What we really want to embrace is our Indigenous culture and our Maori principles of manakitanga. So that is hospitality, kindness, generosity, and support. And we really welcome our visitors, a Manahuri, into New Zealand. So if anybody knows anything about New Zealand, this is probably what they think of. There's more sheep than people. And that is 100% correct. We have many sheep, but we also have cities. So Auckland is our largest city in the North Island, 1.5 million. Wellington is our capital city, and our university is located in the city of Dunedin. So this sound may not play, but this just gives you an idea of what New Zealand is going for in the future. So New Zealand is small, but we very much are looking very global and outward looking. We're a big export nation, bit like Indonesia, just a much smaller population. So our New Zealand sectors of strength are very much renewables, transportation, tech innovation, food and beverage, and tourism. Sorry, I don't know if everybody's muted, Christopher. Are you able to mute the participants in the background? Go. So really innovative, and that's all underpinned basically by entrepreneurship.
Aku dengar
New Zealand
echo.
is a country full of SMEs. So why would you think about studying in New Zealand? Some of you may be thinking about ISMA, some of you may be thinking about future master's programs. We are a fantastic small country. We've got 8 universities. We all rank within the top 1%. We produce graduates with problem solving skills. So again, very similar to Japutra with that critical thinking and hands-on learning. So this is a little bit about where we're located. It is very much before the time of CGI, so apologies for the graphics. Graciela, I hope this brings back some nice memories for you. But this is our beautiful Otago Harbour. Moving in over to St Clair Beach, which is a beach about 15 minutes or 20 minutes by bus from campus, where we have surfing, walking on the beaches. It's much cooler climate than in Indonesia. And then this takes us over to our small city centre. So everything is very walkable in Dunedin. We're small and we're compact. So this is where our cafes and retail stores are to the Octagon. Our railway station, again, we were one of the first railway stations within New Zealand, but this is very much for our tourism offering. And again, I'll deep dive into tourism later on. And what we would class as our keystone building is the clock tower, which is the heart of our campus. So that's our general administration building. And then our campus extends beyond that. So pretty much 10 to 15-minute walk everywhere on the flat, and access to all the resources around you. So you may be asking or thinking about walking. We have outdoor air conditioning in New Zealand, very different to Surabaya, so much cooler. I'm sure Graciela will talk about a bit about that. So that's why all of our students walk. It's flat, And you definitely don't sweat, that's for sure. We are a residential university, so 86% of our students are away from home and will live pretty much surrounding the university area and within sort of 20 minutes walking distance. We're located right beside Forsyth Bar Stadium that hosts events, sport, and gigs, etc. So a little overview of what we look like and where we are, how you would get to us. But why would you consider looking at Dunedin as a study destination? We are a student city. It's who we are, it's what we do, and we've been doing it for 150 plus years, with people traveling not only from New Zealand or Australia, but all over the world to study with us. So the city itself is built on education, but also very strong in tourism and the health sector, as well as being a city that is really big in the entrepreneurial space. Again, an overview of our city, sort of 10 to 15 minutes drive from each side. So no traffic in Dunedin in comparison to Surabaya. We have traffic lights, and if you sit at them for a couple of minutes, people get a little bit grumpy. And here are some snapshots of what our city looks like to give you a flavour. It's the access to the outdoors that draws so many students to us. So this is all within a 15-minute drive of campus. The Aurora Australis has been really big. So this is the Southern Hemisphere's equivalent of the Northern Lights. This is the Southern Lights. And we have a phenomenal year this year with 4 sightings. But we also have a huge draw card with wildlife, and one of probably a few universities in the world that have penguins within a 45-minute drive of campus. So the big difference in New Zealand to Indonesia, we have definitive seasons. So we have a spring, and spring tends to run from the 1st of September through to December. We have a summer. Note the jacket. Our summer is considerably cooler than summer in Indonesia. We have an autumn, and then we have a winter. Though with climate change, things are changing. We don't tend to get the snow that we used to in the past. But this is the outdoors that are so accessible from where we are. Within a 3.5 hour drive, you're through to Queenstown. Access to things you have probably never done before: bungee jumping, skiing, kayaking, hiking, whitewater rafting. And that is me and why I fell in love with New Zealand on the way to the beautiful Milford Sound. So most of that is just a 3 to 4 hour drive from where we're located. So very quickly on to Otago. I touched on being the first university. It's our academic teaching that keeps winning awards. We have 21,000 students all up, with 18,000 on campus, 195 undergrad and postgrad. So something there for everybody. And as I talked about, we're the only residential university in New Zealand. So we have 4 key academic divisions: health sciences, business science, and our humanities. Very highly ranked with lots of different subjects. And again, that beautiful clock tower comes in. So we touched on everything being walkable. You can see how close campus is. The city is built around it. And we're also incredibly inclusive. So not just only do we have our main Dunedin campus, we have a large number of masters and PhD students, and huge in graduate research. So we also have graduate research campuses in the city of Christchurch, which is the largest city in the South Island, and in Wellington. And we have globally connected researchers. So I'm really happy to say we've got a fantastic Indonesian PhD community on campus. And you can do everything from masters through to doctoral degrees with us. So the way postgrad works in New Zealand, we have coursework masters as well as research, as well as doctoral degrees. And when it comes to master's research, you can do that thesis alone. Supervision is always required before you come in. We have about 1,400 doctoral students on campus, and PhD is that research project that is 3 to 4 years in duration. New Zealand really welcomes PhD and Masters by Research students. So the great thing, if anybody is thinking about moving on to doctoral in the future, you would only pay domestic fees, families can come, and you can also work full time when you're studying. So just a quick brief overview, because I know we may have students from right across Triputra. So I know you have a health sciences program. We have all the professional programs. We are one of two medical schools in the country. We're New Zealand's first medical school, and we're the only dental school. And when it comes to masters, we have the Masters of Public Health, Nursing Science, and Masters of Health Sciences across a range of regions. Again, New Zealand, very strong in science. It's about hands-on learning. This is some of the majors that we offer. We also have a 2-year Masters of Science and a whole range of study options, and applied science if you want to go down the more working route. Humanities, again, a huge range of majors to choose from, and also business. Our master's degrees coursework, very popular program from Indonesia, is our Master of Entrepreneurship and Innovation, International Business Leadership and Management, and Sustainable Business. So I know there's a big bit about entrepreneurship in Triputra. We are the only university in New Zealand that offers a bachelor degree in entrepreneurship, and we also have our fantastic Masters of Entrepreneurship and Innovation. Now, people think New Zealand's too small, it's a small number of people, and Dunedin only has 120,000, but that's where the magic happens. There's opportunities through Startup Dunedin and our network for entrepreneurship, easy to get connected. And I'm also delighted to say this year we are working with Education New Zealand, and we're doing the Kiwi Challenge in Indonesia, which launched in September. So again, not just supporting entrepreneurship within New Zealand, but within the wider framework and in Indonesia. And again, lots of other masters options available from people from different backgrounds as well. Okay, so that's a bit about my uni. Now, I got asked to speak about tourism today. So New Zealand, we're pretty good at tourism. It's one of pre-COVID, it was our biggest global export earner and incredibly creative. So we've got everything from adventure through to wildlife. What does this contribute to New Zealand? So as I said, it was the largest export industry prior to COVID, and expenditure was worth 49 billion to the country. So when you've got a 5 million population, you can see the significance of this. When it's come to recovery post-COVID, New Zealand was closed for a very long time, and we are slowly rebuilding our international connections. Already, we are up to being the second largest export industry now, and it's incredible economic contribution to our country, employing 1 in 9 New Zealanders. And you can see the number of tourism operators that we have, over 6,000. So again, for a country with a small population, it's very, very significant to us. So our top six visitor markets, obviously Australia, that's our closest to us. So we have many Australians come over for short trips. The next one is China. Again, that's due down to airline connectivity. And the USA. We have very strong flight connections into the States, Germany and Japan. Now you can see Indonesia on that as well, smaller numbers, but we are yet again on good recovery. Our biggest recovery from tourists though has actually been from India. India, like Indonesia, does not have direct flights to New Zealand, so they predominantly hub through either Bangkok or through Singapore, but it hasn't deterred them from exploring our beautiful part of the world. So this is, if you know anything about New Zealand tourism, you may have seen these photographs before. So we are everything from Maori culture, beautiful landscapes and scenery, and we're also very well known for our sports, and sports tourism is another big part and big driver into the country. Tourism New Zealand is responsible for promoting New Zealand internationally. They will work in a B2B capacity, but they will also work direct to consumer with global marketing campaigns. Curious about anything, check out Tourism New Zealand's website. Their big global campaign at the moment is If You Seek. They collaborate with businesses offshore. They do the branding and marketing. They have a travel trade website when they talk to businesses who on sale into New Zealand, as well as global trade events. That's the overarching government organisation. We also have 32 regional tourism organisations throughout New Zealand. Prior to being back in this role, I actually used to work for the Regional Tourism Organisation of Dunedin, and I was lucky enough to travel to Jakarta with Christchurch Airport promoting New Zealand to Indonesia. So our biggest tourism areas are Queenstown, Rotorua, Waikato for Hobbiton, Lord of the Rings is still very rare in being a tourism driver, and Auckland. So this is the If You Seek campaign, again, really pushing that wilderness and rich culture. And we are really encouraging visitors to visit New Zealand all year round. The marketing activity that you can enjoy with them free with Tourism New Zealand as an operator. This is a waka, it's a traditional Maori canoe, and also a racing vessel. I race waka, so a great part of sport. This is the huge area that we push within New Zealand. So Maori culture is right up there. Food and drink, walking and hiking, adventure, adrenaline. And again, you can see that touch point onto Lord of the Rings and Hobbiton. Maori culture is embedded in the tourism offering, and we've seen a huge growth in Maori tourism operators. They have their own dedicated tourism website, where the Maori tourism operators can show and talk about what offerings that they have throughout the country. A big part of Maori culture, it's not just the waiatas and the kapa haka and sharing their cultural experiences. It's also about the food. And I really wanted to touch on this because I know Indonesians love food. And this is the hangi. So this is a traditionally cooked underground steam oven where they'll prepare all the food and then it's placed into the ground to cook. Predominantly up in the North Island, though you will have some in the south. Rotorua is where you can experience this as a visitor at Te Puia and many other places. So again, worth looking into if you enjoy your food. So that gives you a bit about the background of tourism in New Zealand. But we all know the biggest challenge of tourism globally is sustainability. And how do we address that? Where New Zealand has had significant challenges in the past has been within our cruise ship sector. Prior to COVID, there was a lot of pushback. We have beautiful, pristine waters. This is some of our ships in our sounds. And the New Zealand public were getting increasingly concerned with what does that mean for our environment. So there's been a number of, using the right word, like putting things into place and procedures into place to ensure our waters are protected. So we are very much a country that is very strong in biodiversity and trying to keep our country protected from our native plants, our wildlife. So there's a lot of biosecurity issues have been happening. And these are the latest headlines that cruise ships aren't choosing to come to New Zealand because of the protecting our biodiversity. So this has naturally led to a reduction in the number of ships coming in. And it's that balance between economic and sustainable that they are trying to protect. So it's a work in progress. We are still working on getting that balance right. The other challenge we've had is about those peaks and troughs in visitor numbers. So over tourism, which again, I know Indonesia's tackling, especially within Bali, about trying to level out the time and making sure that those natural resources are protected while at the same time ensuring economic sustainability. Throughout the COVID period, all of the regions were tasked, so those 32 regional tourism organisations were tasked with creating destination management plans of how they would protect this. So the big part of this is promoting New Zealand to different markets, making sure we have a diversity of visitors and that they come at different time periods. So this is where India has been really instrumental in this because they tend to travel in May, which is not our peak visitor time. Our peak visitor time usually comes between December and February. It's also about making sure that our visitors are looking for different experiences to again address that balance. So sustainability, as I said, is a big part of it. New Zealand embraces the Tiaki promise. You will see this on all of your flights coming into New Zealand. And hopefully you can hear this sound. This shows you what it's all about. So we encourage all of our visitors, as we do with our New Zealand population, to look after New Zealand, to embrace our cultural, to look after our wildlife, to look after each other. And it is all about respect. So really lovely way it embraces and brings in Maori culture within it. And just an overall welcome to New Zealand. And please, look after yourselves and the people who are here. So this kaupapa or this work is shared by so many different organisations, which you can see here. Everything from our Department of Conservation, who looks after our beautiful outdoors, to Air New Zealand, our national flag carrier, our regional tourism organisations, New Zealand Maori tourism, and our tourism industry, Aotearoa. So, thinking about tourism, we are one of the few universities that has a dedicated tourism department. And again, this is about shaping our students into the tourism leaders of tomorrow and tackling all of those big challenges that are out there. Our lecturers come from all over the world, again, bringing very diverse perspectives. And we have a BCom in tourism as well as a Master of Businesses and PhD. And look at that fabulous list. This is our current PhD tourism students with a huge number from Indonesia. And it is so amazing to have them on campus and bring Indonesian perspective into this as well, a very shared knowledge system. The tourism school is at the forefront of this very challenging conversation now. We have a tourism policy school every year, which invites a wide number of people through. And again, it is looking at regenerative tourism. How do you decarbonize tourism? Where is the sustainability? So really tackling those issues head on. So that's a bit about tourism, understanding and the value that Maori culture brings within that as well. So going back on to, if this is looking a little bit interesting to you, what options are out there for scholarships at Otago? So when it comes to postgrad, we do have partial scholarships available. We have full doctoral scholarships available for doctoral study. And the New Zealand government also has a Manaki New Zealand scholarships. They will be launched in January next year. But I'm delighted to say we also are the recipients of LPDP, all subjects with targeted entrepreneurship. So this touches on the Manaki New Zealand scholarships. They will have them available for Indonesian students. And as I said, keep an eye on that.
Okay. So it seems that Miss Sarah is lagged out. Um, so due to technical difficulties, we have to wait a bit for Miss Sarah to come to the Zoom again. Okay, while waiting, I'd like to remind everyone here today that after the Zoom session, we will be opening the survey in CHIS to fill up your absence. So please fill that out immediately because we only have a time limit of 30 minutes after the announcement. All right. Okay, so now Miss Sarah is back.
Hello, I am so sorry about that, everybody. This is what happens when you're in a hotel in the other side of the world. Okay, so very quickly back to scholarship. We talked Manaki. We also have Isma, which, as you know from Graciela, and this was part of what she was involved in this year. So, little snapshot, she'll talk about this more, but lots of stuff that you can look on the website about that. Very quickly going to talk through this because I am conscious of time. Our ISMA students stay in our university flats where they would share a house together and experience everything that Otago has to offer. That gives you a little snapshot of what life on campus looks like. We have 7 university libraries, lots of support services around you. If you're thinking of masters, higher education department, all the services that you want or need, including a career development centre. If you're into sport, 3-level sports fitness facility, clubs and societies, International Students Association, Indonesian Muslim Students Association, and a big part of being a student at Otago is getting involved in everything that you can imagine you want to get involved in. So, getting out, tree planting, helping with sustainability, joining Startup Dunedin and doing a entrepreneurship program. And if you are thinking about coming to New Zealand potentially for a master's, you can work during your studies as well as be eligible for a 3-year post-study work visa. So that is a little bit about the university and us. We also have a whole range of webinars that you can learn more about too. That will be, you can just check them out on our website. They're all on YouTube. And a fabulous 360 campus video as well that will bring the campus alive for you. So that's really it from me. I know you'll all be super keen to hear Graciella's experience at Otago and what life is studying at New Zealand, but you can be rest assured of a very warm welcome. Sustainability is a huge part of what we do. It's embedded in pretty much everything. So if you're looking for a country that is big with tourism, entrepreneurship, and sustainability, we really hope to welcome you to Aotearoa, New Zealand in the future. So I will stop share my presentation now and pass over to Graciela.
Okay. Sorry, can you hear my voice? Is my voice loud and clear?
Awesome.
Yes,
Okay.
clear.
Yep, I have started sharing the screen. I hope you guys can see. Okay, so kia ora. As you guys know, I'm Graciela Jessica Horas, or my friends and family would usually call me Gracie or Grachi. And I am one of the representative from ISMA 2024 awardee from University of Otago, New Zealand. And as you've seen from the presentation, New Zealand is overall wonderful. It was amazing, mesmerizing, spectacular, and I'm so much excited to share it with you guys today. Okay. Maybe I will be dwelling more into the ISMA first. The preparation for ISMA. Well, of course, before you start the selection process, there are several things that you have to go through. And one of them is the English proficiency test. And for my case, I choose IELTS, and I had been training for IELTS using the free IELTS online test on Google. If you just look it up on Google, there will be many websites that provide you with free online test. And in total, the preparation for IELTS took me 2 weeks. Although, yeah, you can say it was pretty fast. It was pretty soon for 2 weeks, but yeah, I managed. And for the rest, another week, for 1 week, I prepare for my essay and all the documents. And there's also one thing that I've prepared beforehand, which is the passport. So those of you who have expired passports, or maybe you have not had any passport yet, it's better for you to prepare beforehand. Because although it was not compulsory for ISMA, the first selection stage, to have a passport, but the UC International Office made it compulsory for us to have passports. And personally, I think it was pretty helpful later when I get accepted as an awardee, because taking care of passport takes a lot of time, and you have to schedule everything beforehand. You have to follow the immigrations, blah blah blah. It is a hassle to take care of your passport. And so yeah, if you have any questions during the preparation, maybe you are a bit confused about the documents, it's okay, don't hassle it now. You can just ask UC International Office, because personally I think UC International Office has been really helpful to me, and I wouldn't be here today if it weren't for their help. And next, yep, in March or February, I forgot, but yep, they announced this. I got accepted into University of Otago. At first, when I look at the announcement, I was like, wow, what is this? Like, I did not expect this. I did not expect to be accepted into any of my 3 choices. I was just going through the selection process as a way to gain experience, as a way to embrace my curiosity regarding ISMA. Although I have prepared beforehand, I have done some research semesters before. I have looked it up on YouTube. I have looked it up on Google's about what is ISMA and what do the awardees do? What do you get from ISMA and what it actually is, you know? But over time, I was like, meh, you know what? Maybe let's just not go with ISMA. But then after that, during January, around mid-January, shout out to my friends. they they somehow decided to go along with ISMA selection process, and I was like, okay, I think I'm feeling a bit FOMO, fear of missing out. So let's just go with it. Let's just give it a try. And voila, apparently luck is on my side. And so I flew to Dunedin, New Zealand from July 2024, and going through all the 4 months of one semester in Dunedin, which lasts from July 2024 to November 2024. And as you can see, this is a picture of me and my friends, my fellow ISMA awardees from Otago. Shout out to everyone who's watching this on Zoom meeting or on YouTube Live. I really love you guys. And yeah, this is our first meeting ever in Jakarta Airport. And I cannot lie, it was really thrilling to meet everyone, such amazing, awesome people. And right there, there's me in front of the clock tower. Okay, so my semester lasts for 4 months. And what did I do during those 4 months? Well, first of all, I did classes and tutorials. There are several papers that I enrolled in. First is Business and Society, and then Human Thought and Behavior, Cultural and Social Identities, and Geographies of Sustainable Future. So as you can see, it's a bit of a mix between the papers I enrolled in. There are business and then humanities, and then there's also psychology. But yeah, that is how it is. And for each of the class, usually in 1 week, there are several classes for each paper, usually 2 to 3 or up to 4 in some cases. And for each class, it lasts for about 15 minutes. So it's really compact. And other than classes, there are also tutorials, which also last from 50 to 3 hours. It depends on which class you took. Usually for 3 hours, it's papers that require you to go to laboratories and stuff. Like, for example, Human Thought and Behavior, it lasts for 2 hours. It was a laboratory. So yeah, it took much longer than just 15 minutes. But yeah, personally, I think the way Otago arranged this whole class and tutorials and the concept of class and tutorials and how the tutors and the lecturers are so accommodating, I think it had helped me so much in tackling my academic issues throughout the semester. And for the tutorials, well, it is basically a practical, you can say, practical session where you practice and you recall what you have learned in classes, and then you implement it in a way that helps you understand better. And not gonna lie, it has helped me during my final exam. So tutorials are mandatory, but classes are not. But trust me, tutorials are really helpful. They have been really helping me during my final exams. Another thing that I did other than classes and tutorials are clubs and SOCs. SOCs stands for societies. And this is usually held under the OSA. I should have included it in this PPT, but so OSA is short for Otago University Student Association, and they are in charge. They're basically the student council if it's in UC. They in charge of the clubs, societies, and all the extracurricular activities held in Otago. And there's a lot of various different clubs. There are even anime clubs that I once enrolled in, but yeah, I canceled the club after that. But the clubs that last until the very end of my semester, which I enrolled in, are art clubs and the trees planting volunteer. As you can see, there's a picture of me holding a shovel right there. That is me during the trees planting volunteering. That was in the Otago Peninsula. It was, I forgot the location, but it was like the furthest of Dunedin, if I'm not mistaken. And it was such a beautiful place, honestly. Like, me and my friends right there, we were planning to go to just have some fun, just look at the view and everything. But we were given so much more than that. We were given the view, we were given good foods. I still remember how the bread and the sausages taste like. Although I'm not really much of a fan of a sandwich, but it made me love sandwich so much because of how good it was. And we learned how to plant trees. We also went through this a bit of adrenaline. Like, it was a bit steep, the place where you plant trees. And I fell once. It was quite hilarious, I would say. But everyone there was so helpful. They helped me go through that, and they also accommodate me and reassure me that it's okay. It's some people's first time, blah blah blah. And I feel like, wow, this community is so welcoming to me. And although this is my first time, they don't really take it like something as like, you know what I mean. And then there's also art club. There are some paintings I did. Please don't judge my painting. I'm not really good with arts. But in the art club, however, we met this few friends. They are also international students from Japan. There is Toko, and I'm so sorry, I forgot the other one's names. But yeah, we met them in the art club. It was such a fun experience to meet new people and, meet new international students. Even, I think there was a lot of international students coming from Japan, and I've made quite a lot of new friends from Japan as well, but you will see in the next slide. Another thing that we did was the ISMA challenges. These are compulsory as an ISMA awardee. I don't know if next year's going to be any different, but this year, in my year, 2024, we had IFDP, which is the Indonesian Future Development Project. And that is basically a writing where you have to take something, analyze something from Dunedin or from New Zealand, and take that as comparison. Take that as something that can be developed later in Indonesia. So something that is in New Zealand, but not in Indonesia. And then you combine them, and then you, I don't know, maybe like find some strategies, and then find a way to implement that in Indonesia. So that's why it's called Future Development Project. And then there's also Culturized Challenge. Culturized Challenge is these pictures right here. And so basically during the Culturized Challenge, we held this small event. It lasts for about 3 to 4 hours, if I'm not mistaken. And during those hours, we held this small event where we promote Indonesian culture. We wear batik, and we also play some Indonesian music. We present a lot of Indonesian food like rendang and soto, and what else? There was bakwan. The bakwan was so good. And yeah, I should have included the picture of the food because it was really tasty. And we made all of that by ourselves from scratch. Not exactly from scratch. We bought it from New World. That's the supermarket there. And so, yeah, it was a whole event arranged by the 10 of us right there. And so it was really thrilling and really fun. Another thing is I met the locals, and not just meeting the locals. Here are pictures of international students, which, well, maybe you cannot consider them locals, but yeah, they're there. There are some friends from Thailand, from Japan, and there are also some from actually local from New Zealand. And yeah, there was us sending our Japanese friend off. That's Kento. Shout out to Kento. And yeah, overall, After meeting everyone, after meeting my international friends and local friends, I have came to the conclusion that New Zealand is such a welcoming country in terms of the community. I think not just people who are locals, but everyone itself. I think it is a culture that has been embedded in them that I don't know, the way they greet people, the way they interact with people, the way they hold small talks. There are small things, trivial things, but it makes me feel welcomed. It makes me feel like I actually do belong here. Maybe part of the reason is because many of the New Zealand population contains of immigrants, and so it is very diverse. And I would say if you are considering to studying in New Zealand, specifically Otago, I think it is one of the best choice you can make because it is very international, student friendly, and I have met some of my friends as well there. My my classmate, no, not my classmate, it was my friend from school, from high school, and yeah, they were all really happy to be there. And the weather was so good as well. Like it just incorporates everything into making me feeling welcomed. And yeah, I have broadened my connection and yeah, I have advanced my language ability. I have never thought that I would be accepted into Otago. And did, if I did not, I wouldn't be so sure that I can be here today talking in English this way because, oh, okay, I may not be perfect with the way I talk right now, but I think without ISMA and without Otago and without the overall help from all of the things that I've experienced during this one semester, I wouldn't be here today and I wouldn't be able to talk like this in front of you guys. So it was one hell of an experience. And another thing I would like to highlight about is the slow living habit, which I love the most. And honestly, I miss the most because, well, if you know about slow living, it's about simplicity and it's about not being in a rush. It's about having a work-life balance. And I found everything about slow living habit in Dunedin, New Zealand, and specifically Otago. Like, for example, those times when I had to reach out to my professors, but I had to be mindful of the office hours because, there are the office hours ended at 5 p.m. And yeah, we have to respect that very much. And also, oh, the malls. The malls closes at 5 p.m. The restaurants also closes at 5 p.m. The worst, they closed at 2 p.m. Although they open from although they only last from 11 to 2, so there's only like 4 hours opening time. So there's only during lunch. So yeah, it's kind of good, but it's also at first it was pretty shocking to me because oh my god, I want to grab something to eat, right? I want to have some treat for myself after maybe classes or a hassle after the afternoon exam, for example. But unfortunately, I couldn't get anything because, well, everywhere is closed unless some takeaways, they are still open. But looking at the bright side, I think the way this culture, this lifestyle is embedded is it is to emphasize the importance of actually having more time with your family, more time with maybe yourself, more time with your friends, more time to actually make some homemade cooks and less of those fast foods, less of takeaways, less of getting food from outside, and actually cherishing your home, feeling like you're actually at home. And another thing that I like the most about Dunedin, I have a lot of things I like about it actually, is the flat. Is the flat. The concept of flatting. So there are dorms and there are also flats. The flats, however, is where me and the rest of my ISMA friends stay. That is where we actually try to live with each other. It's like we're a whole new family. We live with each other. We take care of chores. We divide chores. We take schedules on who's gonna cook today, who's gonna cook after this, blah blah blah. And so, yeah, I've experienced the maximum of slow living habit with my ISMA family, and it was priceless. Another thing that I would like to highlight about is the Teoraka, sustainability with Teoraka. And maybe you guys don't know, Teoraka is it is a store, a thrifting store, basically coming from uh, the University of Otago, and it is to promote sustainability. So they take donations in shape of maybe clothes, um, maybe desk lamps, bikes, skateboards, even books, trinkets, anything ever, anything that is associated with students in general. They take donations and then they resell it at a much cheaper price, which is, I know most of you guys are pretty familiar with the concept of thrifting, but I think thrifting in Dunedin, specifically in Otago, it is really a big thing. And although this is just one of many examples, but Teoraka has opened my eyes towards the importance of being aware of the global warming. Sorry? Okay. The importance of global warming and how we should actually put more attention into our planet and how everything we do, every small things that we take, every small clothes that we buy, all the fast fashion habit, it's actually a contributing factor to our planet's climate. And so, yeah, I think I have become much more aware, and I have been conscious to take more action towards global warming. Another thing that I love the most about New Zealand and Otago are the study spaces. The first picture right there is the library, the central library. It's really huge, and that is just one picture. I hope it describes how big it is, but it was spacious, and there were so many seats with so many what do you call it, cholokan. I forgot the word in English, but yeah, it was a lot of facilities provided in the central library, and I think that is one of many factors that contribute to how well students perform in Otago, how Otago in itself actually cares so much about their students through such study spaces. Because I think although there are classes, although there are tutorials, although there's a campus building, but those aren't enough. Those just take up like 30% of your overall study performance, and the rest is, well, you have to tackle it yourself. 70 to 80% you have to tackle it yourself. You have to do your essays by yourself. You have to face your exam, study for your exam by yourself. Maybe you can strategize, you can do things with it, but everything you have to think of it and do it by yourself. And so, although it is out of reach from the campus, but I think through study spaces and through that is one botanic garden, that is also a place to study. I think Otago has shown their very much care how much they actually care about their students and how much they care about our performances, and that is one of the things that I love so much about Otago, and I'm very much grateful to be in Otago. And another thing that I've found during ISMA, of course, is a family. Well, this is a picture of me and my other 9 awardees. And well, although it was it was 4 months, and perhaps for some people it's just 4 months. What do you mean? Like it's not enough for you to call a bunch of people to be a family? But from them, I learned so much. I learned a lot of things, like for example, how some of my friends are actually facing stress, and they showed me how to bounce back, how to face conflicts, how to face feedbacks with an open arm. And I think I have developed so much as a character through these people right here. And sorry. And yeah, I think not just how they respond to their stress that showed me how to tackle with my own stress, but they have also accommodated me and helping me how to respond to my own stress, respond to my academic stress, respond to my daily habit, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, overall, it's been a great experience to be a part of ISMA. And so, yeah, that is all from me as an ISMA awardee from Otago. I hope you guys, I don't know, you can understand what I just said. Maybe if you have any questions, or you can just pop me up on Instagram, or maybe you can hit up ISMA Otago on Instagram. There's also a bunch of stories and posts that explains how our life has been during those 4 months. Thank you.
Okay, so first off, I'd like to thank you, Miss Sarah, for presenting the previous presentation. I'd also like to say thank you to Graciela for sharing her experience in Otago University. I'd like to clarify a few things before I continue. For some of the students here or participants here who are questioning about the survey will be opened until 6 p.m. in SIS. But for UC Online Student, it'll be given through Gform at the end in the Zoom chat. So you can go ahead and fill in the Gform after the session. So now after all that presentation, I'm pretty sure most of you are interested. I'm pretty sure most of you are curious. You have lined up a question and it sparked some interest. You want to ask some questions. So therefore, Q&A session has now been officially opened. So for anyone who wants to ask a question, you can raise your hands if you want to ask questions directly. You can also ask questions on the public chat or even ask me directly. So actually now we have someone raised their hand already from comms. We have Marsha Shefa. You can unmute to ask your question.
Hello, my name is Marcia and I'm from Com Major. I want to say New Zealand is very beautiful. It seems fun to study in a beautiful place. And I saw on website, Otago is located in the city center, right, Miss Sarah?
Kia ora, Marcia. Lovely for your question. Yeah, so the university is surrounded by the city. So remember, the city is small and walkable everywhere. So you can go, the campus and the city are sort of integrated to a degree. So you can walk in one direction to the city, one direction to the Botanic Gardens, and then also down to the waterfront in the other direction as well. So very easy to get around.
Really amazing. So then how can I get a scholarship from Otago? Because Otago is a top campus. Are there any special requirements for me to able to get a scholarship other than IELTS? For example, do I have to volunteer in a certain field or what? And besides that, Miss, I am from the Digital Public Relation Department. I want to continue my education with job opportunities that are on the green list in New Zealand. Do you have any suggestion regarding mergers in Otago? Thank you so much.
Wow, that's a good question and a well-prepared question. So, I've put my email in the chat box, so please feel free to reach out on email, and because there's quite a lot to that question. And when it comes to scholarships, if it's masters, we have partial, not full scholarships. Full scholarships would either be through Manaki, which is the New Zealand scholarship program, open in January, and it will depend on the area that they're each area is determined by the New Zealand government of what they put into the scholarship pool. The other opportunity that you have is LPDP, because I know they do full scholarships, and my understanding is LPDP now will allow you to stay back in New Zealand as well. So again, that's something to check out. So yeah, full scholarships through government scholarships. Otago University will offer you partial scholarship. It will be dependent on grade. as well as your English language requirements. But please put your question through to email and I can answer it in much more detail. Thank you. Great question.
Thank you.
Okay, so as a recap, to get the scholarship, score matters, and of course the language. Yes, and it depends as well. So do we also have any more questions from other people? While waiting for other people to, oh, apparently there's already someone who asked a question. Shannon, come. She asked in the public chat if she wants to ask about the English requirements in the University of Otago. What kind of English proficiency tests does the Otago University accept? Example, IELTS, Duolingo, etc. Especially for the scholarships, ISMA or government, and etc. as well.
Yep. So Otago University will accept IELTS, Pearson, Duolingo. All of the information is available on our website. And if you just, and I'll put the link in for you. The scholarships, LPDP and Manaki, that will be determined by what they need. So that's external. I can't give those, but certainly Otago accepts all the major online tests. And we just recently started taking Duolingo again, which is amazing because I know how hard it can be getting an IELTS test. So that will explain that there. And I know I've just seen somebody else in the chat. Would there also be a scholarship to the online students of UC? At the end of the day, the scholarships are given on academic merit normally, and an English requirement. I'm not sure with LPDP, that's again a different process. And Manaki has, the government scholarship process, but it's usually academic grades and English, but the relevant scholarship providers will be able to give you that information. Okay, is that it for questions? Anybody else while we're here? Well, that must be a good sign, Gracie, that we've answered everybody's questions in the presentation. So, if we've nothing else, Christopher, are we good?
Yeah, wait, actually, sorry, I have another question. I would like to ask, maybe like Graciela could answer that. Since like, it's nerve-wracking to go to another country to study abroad, basically, it's a whole new environment. There's a lot of things to get accounted for. Do you have any sort of insight that you brought that you yourself forgot about?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
Okay, so when you go study abroad, it's nerve-wracking. There's a lot of things you have to account for, right? Like the passports and stuff. So I want to ask if there's anything that usually people forget to account for, like something you personally experienced that you forgot to account for.
Okay. Maybe if there's anything for the documents, I think it has been settled pretty much because with the presence of our SR as well, which is like the student representative, they have been quite helpful in arranging all the documents and everything. And ISMA itself has been really clear and helpful about all the required documents, passports and everything. But maybe some issues that I face. I think it was the preparation, like my personal preparation for the weather itself and the environment. Because although I have explained how welcoming it has been, but some things about the weather about how it is very much windy and how it is, it is constantly changing, and it's a four-season country. It is very much different from Indonesia, how Indonesia has only like one season, which is hot and rain throughout the year. And so, yeah, I think I have lacked preparation in that term. I have, although I've brought many winter clothes and everything, but I think it's better to be more prepared than that, and it's better to prepare yourself physically as well. And maybe another thing is the way you study. I think you need to first know before go and uh, tackle your things with the whole ISMA selection process. I think you should know yourself that you are actually capable of finding your own way of studying. You can actually, I don't know, bounce back and found how things are actually supposed to go with the academic stuff, because that is really important. And I have just learned about that during my semester there. And although it was not too late, but it was a bit late, I think. And so, yeah, it's way better to be prepared beforehand, to have your own learning strategies. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, so to simplify, you have to do like better research to prepare yourself, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I also have another question. Someone messaged me directly, privately. For Graciela, how long was the preparation process on applying in ISMA? When should I start, and how well do I need to prepare it?
Okay, thank you for the question. Um, for me personally, I think it was a bit late, like for my decision to join ISMA, because the final decision I made was around 1 month before the registration closes. Although it was not too late, but yeah, it gives me still less time to prepare better. But I think it was enough. So it was 4 weeks. But if you need to prepare for anything from now on, for example, maybe you can prepare for the English proficiency test, specifically if you're taking, I don't, maybe IELTS, Duolingo, or TOEFL. And although I think for the other stuff, such as the documents and everything, you can prepare that maybe like a month before. But for the rest, you can start maybe preparing essays and the English proficiency test.
All right, that's pretty insightful. I hope that answers the person who asked the question. Is there any more questions? Any other more people who want to ask questions? Because I think this is a wonderful opportunity to get, informations directly from the people here today.
Kia ora, Christopher. I just saw that Anik Monica has asked a question about career job from the University of Otago besides scholarships. So if this is, hopefully I have the right read on the question. So if you are studying in New Zealand as a master's student, you can work part-time during your studies, and you can work full-time during your vacation time. So we do have a fabulous career development centre that can help you look for employment, as well as if you decide to stay back in New Zealand on a post-study work visa, also help advance your career prospects there as well. So certainly there's the opportunity there. In regards to actually employment at the university, I'm not sure if you're thinking of as an academic or not, but that's something that would be advertised on the university website. So hopefully covered both, if that's okay.
Okay. Are there any more people who would like to ask questions? Okay. You can unmute yourself, Philia from IBM.
I like to ask how much level difficulty would you think to get the visa in New Zealand?
Okay, I am not an immigration expert, but it's a fairly straightforward application. Once you have your letter of offer from the university, then it's a fairly straightforward step-by-step process through the immigration website, or you can get an education consultant or agent to assist you with the application. So you need the letter of offer, and you also need to show proof of funds are the key things that they are asking for. The one thing with a New Zealand visa, you do have to allow a bit of time to get it processed. So they usually say between 2 to 3 months on the website. So it's about being organized in advance is the best advice that I can give you. And I'll pop that link on the chat for everybody as well. So thank you. Great question.
Thank you so much for the answer.
Okay. If there's no any further question, I'll wrap up the Q&A session, but I'll make sure if anybody still have any more questions, we'll still be opening.
Excuse me, can I have question, sir? Miss?
Yeah, sure.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello, good
Okay.
day, sir, Miss Sarah, Ewing, and all the participants. Maybe I would like to ask about, is there any online studies in New Zealand, even it is including in master study, or any expertise study or training that help in by online? Maybe because of some of us is entrepreneur, it means we work in our corporate. So to have full-time study in New Zealand, maybe it is a little bit difficult. So maybe any other option, maybe other options, something like online study, even it is maybe master study, magister study, or like study expertise study. Do
Yeah,
you got
kia
what I
ora,
mean?
thank you. Yeah, so much for your question. Otago has a few just what we would class as a distance course that is designed for professionals who are studying. We don't have a huge range, but we do have some. So that would be under distance learning for Otago. And I know we certainly have our Masters of Sustainable Business that is taught online. If Otago doesn't have the options available that suit you, maybe some of our other New Zealand universities will have something more suitable for you that work more in the online space. So, for example, Massey does a lot online. So worth exploring your options. We certainly have a few, but we are quite an on-campus university. But I'll put the link up for the courses that we have on distance. Thank you so much again for your question.
Oh, okay. Okay. So I think that is enough question for today, for the Q&A session. So with that being said, I'll wrap up the Q&A session. If you have any more questions, I think there's a bunch of media you can use to reach out to Sarah and Graciela, including their Instagram. Now we're going to be heading on to our documentation session. So please, everyone, can you turn on your camera because we're about to take screenshots of the pages. Again, please, for everyone, if it's possible, turn on your camera so that we can take proper photos. So we're going to be doing screenshot from the IT department. Screenshot in the first slide. 1, 2, 3. Okay. For the second slide. we're going to be taking screenshots. So slide 2, 1, 2, 3. And then for slide 3, 1, 2, 3. For slide 4, 1, 2, 3. Slide 5, 1, 2, 3. Slide 6, 1, 2, 3. Slide 7, 1, 2, 3. Slide 8, 1, 2, 3. Slide 9, 1, 2, 3. Slide 10, 1, 2, 3. And then the last slide, 1, 2, 3. All right. Before all of you leave, I'd like to remind you to fill out the survey in CHIS immediately, even though we're going to open it until 6 p.m. Make sure to fill it to get your CAPE, international CAPE. And I'll also would like to promote UCIC Instagram. So if you guys are interested in any more topics and any more talk shows like this, please explore the Instagram page. It's under UC_international community, and you can join in and see in the link tree if you are interested. And if you have any more international questions, international related questions, you can go to the International Hub, which is in the 15th floor of new building. It's open from Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 10 p.m. till 12 p.m. With that being said, I'd like to thank again Graciela and Sarah Ewing for joining and attending this session today. And I'm grateful for the time that you spent and sharing. And I also like to thank you personally to all the participants who have joined so far. Thank you for spending your time, and I hope it is beneficial for from getting the insights of this session today. With that being said, I'm Christopher. I'll be signing off, and I'll see you all in the next Global Talk.
Kia ora, thank you, everybody. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you
Good day.
for
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the
Thank you.
insight.
Much.
See you.
Thank you so much.